All right, so today we are going to learn how to build a web application in Golang. And the first thing I'm going to do is cd into my source directory where all my core source code is, and create a directory inside of it with the name of the application. And once I'm inside this directory, I'm going to create a readme file with a list of features which this application is going to have. And this application is going to be a redirecting application, which basically works this way. You can set it up on a server, and you can basically make it redirect incoming requests to predefined addresses. So for instance, I want this address to be redirected to cosmicevent.org, or the other way around, then I should be able to do it with this application. Or if I want to redirect old.com to the new.com, I should be able to do it using this application. So we want this to be a Go application, so I'm going to create a main.go file, inside which I will just put some boilerplate, and initially I'm just gonna print starting server on 4000, or actually 3000, right? Starting server on 3000. Let's just make it clickable, so that's that. And I'm gonna use the HTTP package and the listen and serve to actually start the application on this port. And listen and serve takes the address and handler, and for now I'm just going to say a handler. It's going to use a nil handler, and in a different tab I'm going to build this and run it. So it says starting server on this URL. I'm going to copy that and paste it here, and it says 404 page not found. So that's a good start. Since we don't have a handler, it's displaying a 404. Now I wanted to show a hello world, a basic welcome page. So for that we need HTTP handle func, and the root URL, we want to render a page. So I'm gonna say that index handler, use a function called index handler, and that function is gonna have these arguments, right? So these are the standard handler arguments. So we have the response writer and the incoming request, and I'm just gonna say write a byte sequence which is hello, right? So that's good. And now we'll restart the server, and voila, on the home page we have a message hello. So this is good. Now we have a working web server, but we don't want this. We want a nice HTML page to be rendered. So what I'm gonna do is create a directory called templates, and inside of that I'm gonna create a directory called index.html. Inside that I'll just create a file here which is .type html h1 welcome to our Redirectapp, right? And create redirect. and so we want to render this page. For that, what we're going to do is in the init function. So init function is a function which will be called before the main function is called. So in the init function, we will have a constant here called the index. Well, let it just be a string called the index HTML. And inside of this, we're going to use IOUtils dot read file. Is there a read file method? I'm sure there is one. Template index.html. Maybe not. So first I'm gonna open this file. Open file. And once we have the file, read IOUtil, or is it util? So let me just include that. IOUtil, and IOUtil has a method called read file. Oh, it actually has a method called read. So read file, and then the file name. So that, and read file gives us a byte array and an error. So I'm gonna take that byte array and store it in index.html, and the error for now we'll just ignore the error, and we'll make this a byte array. Good. Now, while writing this, we just need to say write index.html, and now when we restart the server and refresh, it is an HTML page, which is nice. Okay, so once we have this working, we need to put a form which asks for a source and a target. So for that, I'm gonna put a form here. Action's gonna be /redirect. Method is going to be post, and I need an input here. Type is text, and name is source, and add a placeholder here called source domain, and another called target or destination, and destination domain, right? And put a line break here, a submit button, and another line break here. Right, so it looks good, and the submit button should have a value which says redirect. Alright, so all good now. So I'm gonna restart the server, and here it asks for a source domain and a destination domain. I'm gonna say cosmicwind.org and cosmicwind.com is the target redirect. But when we do that, if we look at the network, it is submitting it, and there's no error. And the reason for that is because we have a / handler, and that is handling all the incoming requests. So here I'm gonna add a log just to make things clearer. Log println, say get /, right? So that's what's happening here, and we need another handler for the redirect. So I'm going to say redirect should go to the create redirect handler, and that should be similar to the index handler, and create redirect handler. And what we need to do here is, for now, I'm gonna just put some messages here. Say creating redirect and request dot params. What is it? Request dot form. Yeah, we're just going to print out the form. So let's restart this guy and resubmit the form, right? And now it doesn't show the index page, and it shows a blank page, which is good. And the form says it's an empty map, which is not good. So if you look at the network here, we push this request has the right form data, but the logged form doesn't have that. So we probably have to say parse form, right? And restart the server, resubmit the request, and look at the log. And now we have the source, which is an array of strings, in the destination. So all is good. Now we need to actually store this information in a database. So for that, we will use the PostgreSQL gem, not gem, the PostgreSQL golang package, which is libpq. Yeah, this is a good package. And all right, is this the one? Yeah, this looks good. We need to use this. So we need to add that to our imports, and run off. And we even need to add the database import, which is and before that, let me even do this. Go get that, and we'll look at the documentation. We also need to import database SQL, so we'll add that. And in the init, we will open up a database. So I'm going to copy this code, use that as a template. So here in the init, I'm going to create the database, or maybe I'll put it in a different method. So func connect to DB, right? So this guy is gonna connect us to the database. Let me close this. So Postgres, and so I'm just gonna find find the right connection string here. Oh boy, what's the so the connection string should be this is a good connection string. So I'm running on Ubuntu, and the connection string varies based on the operating system you're running on, and we need to connect to a database called redirectapp underscore def. Yeah, let's say redirectapp underscore def. Right, so that's the connection string, and so we are going to open the database. If it fails, we're going to log it as a fatal error, and after that we need to use the database connection. So SQL open gives us a SQL.db, so I'm gonna put that in the variables here. db star SQL.db, okay. And this error looks good. So now that we have that, we need to create a database. So for that, I'm going to create a db.sql file and create a table inside of this. So I'm going to find the SQL to create the table, and this looks good. We need something similar to that. So create table, we need a table called redirects, which has an ID, which is a serial number, and it has a source, cannot be more than 255, and destination, which also cannot be more than 255, and finally redirect status, or we'll add this later. So for now we need a table with this, and so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a database called redirectapp underscore dev, and for that database we're going to create a table called redirects, which is throwing an error because we have an extra comma there. Yeah. So do that again, and now we have a table, right? So all good, and when we submit the form, it needs to create a record in the redirects table with that source and destination. That's why we are initializing the database connection and doing all this. So what we need to do here is run a database query, db dot exec, or is it yeah, exec should be good. Exec, there is a query and we need a few arguments, right? So query and a few arguments, and we ignore the result for now. Let's just ignore the result, and I'm going to say insert into redirects, right? What are the columns we want? Source and destination, and the values would be $1 and $2. What is it? Is it $1 and $2? Exec balance. Yeah, it's $1 and $2. So $1 and $2, and what is the source form and source then we need the destination, right? So this should do it, right? This should insert the record in the database, and once we do that, we should redirect the user to the home page. So I'm sure HTTP has a method called redirect, and it takes a few things, right? So it takes the W, the R, the URL string, and the code. So the W, the R, the URL string, and the status code is HTTP redirect. Should be a template redirect. Yeah, that's good. So everything looks good. We need to restart the server, and now when we go to the home and enter those two, it throws some kind of error. And if you look at the log, it says invalid memory address or null pointer dereference on line number SQL code. Yeah, here's the line number 30, right? So we'll go to line number 30, right? So this is where something's not right. So we are not connecting to the database. That's the problem. So let's do that in the init, restart the server, and then do that again. And it has refreshed this page using a redirect, as you can see. So we're going to look at the database to see if we have any records. So select start from redirects, and there we have the source and destination. So that's awesome, right? Awesome. Now this is just one part of it. We should probably even show the existing records here. So again, we have the database. We can loop through the records and show them on the index page, but I'll leave that as an exercise. And finally, what we need to do is if the host is not our address, then it should actually look for the redirects, right? So the index handler should actually look for the redirects. So what we need to do here is we need to say, so we first need to know what the host is, right? So the host is, for now, let's say localhost. So this site shows up only if you go to localhost :3000. And if the host is not localhost, then it should do the redirect. All right, so this is good. Well, we need that here. So r dot host, if this is equal to our host, then do this and return, right? Otherwise, call the redirect handler, right? So say redirect handler, and redirect handler will pass W and R, and we have another redirect handler which is going to do the redirecting, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the record with the host of the incoming request. So we'll say db dot query row. We're going to find a row and we just need to find the destination, right? So select destination from redirects where source is equal to $1, right? So what's $1? R dot host, right? So the incoming host, and I'll say dot scan this into a string. destination, right? So we need a string called destination, right? And that's good. Now once we have that, we need to redirect the user to the destination, and using the permanent status quo, right? So that should do it, right? Now that we have the redirect set up, right? So we have a redirect for cosmicone.org. I'm gonna set up another redirect with the right host names. I'm gonna say foo.lph.me should send me to google.com, right? So I'm gonna create that redirect, and if you look at the data, it's there, and we are going to actually test it now. So I'm going to restart the server. And send a request using curl to foo.lbh.me. See what happens. It says, oh yeah, it's not running on port 80, right? So we need to send it to port 3000, and we have a response which says it has been redirected to /, which is not correct. So we need to actually fix this. We'll say destination just gives us the domain name, right? So we'll add http / plus, right? Or we could ask the user to add all this, but for now I'm just gonna go with this. And okay, so it says it's unable to find. So let's add some debugging here. So I'm gonna say print the host, right? So we want to print the host. Host is this, right? So restart the server and run the request, and it says the host is here. The host has even the port info. So we need to split that at the port. So I'm gonna say host is r.host strings dot split on single quote and get the first one, right? So here strings dot split gives us an array, takes the host and a separator, and so it seems to be there. A host declared and not used. Yeah. So now we need to use it here and do this again. And it works now. If you see, the location here is google.com. So now if I go to this URL in my browser, if I go to foo.lbh.me, it's going to send me to google.com. So that's awesome, right? So that's all we have. We still need to add some error handling and make it more robust. But you can see that creating an application in Golang is very easy. I mean, you also get high performance while doing this. So that's it for today's session. We'll look at something else in the next session. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.